Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new PTS Patch Notes video of patch 5.1.3 on the PTS, and there is a lot of things that people are going to be talking about with these changes, but let's just go through them and we'll discuss the things as we come to them and what changes are happening. So first off, the Elder Scrolls Online version 5.1.3 largely includes several additional adjustments and fixes for combat abilities and item sets, in addition to the name of the two Scalebreaker dungeons, or to this addition to the same for the two Scalebreaker dungeons. For this patch, we ran into issues that required us to do a fresh copy of all PC Mega Server characters. We will do a copy of PC EU characters next week. The size of this patch is approximately 158 megabytes, so quite big. And so the first thing is the combat and gameplay changes that they're going to be talking about and the known issues. First off, Immortal Warrior's major protection currently does not work and will be fixed in a future update. Power Surge's new functionality is incomplete and will not target allies when it activates. This will be resolved in a future update. Growing Swarm's target cap removal is causing issues with performance. When used in tandem with specific combinations of sets and passes, the target count will be reinstated in future PTS as a stopgap until the morph undergoes some design changes for a future update. So it looks like Growing Swarm is actually going to get a revamp, which sounds cool. We'll have to see what happens with it, but that's going to happen probably much later. And then Zin's Redress will receive some adjustments to how it operates, as well as a number of tweaks from 2% total damage per dot to 1% to reduce the total overall power in a group setting. Mutagen's burst heal function is currently too difficult to proc based on its stated behavior, and with the concern of making it too easy to reliably trigger, we will be investigating a potential rework for this for what this morph offers. Vigor's rework to be a single target heal over time hasn't hit the mark we wanted and currently enables too much healing. With the Echoing Vigor morph, we will be taking a close look at the core identity of these skills and potentially making adjustments. So there is a lot of things they are looking at making adjustments to, it looks like, and they are taking a lot of things into consideration when it comes to certain stuff. But let's go ahead and move on. Dark Brotherhood exploration itemization. They fixed something causing the Delve boss in the Gold Coast to drop loot specific to public dungeons. Okay. Elsewhere changes. Necromancer, Bone Tyrant. So, Bone Totem increased the duration of this ability and its morphs by 1 second to help improve its animation of the totem crumbling, along with adding a new function. These abilities will now pulse a fear once every 2 seconds after the initial 2-second delay, rather than only once. That's going to make Bone Tyrant's Bone Totem really good. Really good CC. Some fixes with some stuff. Scalebreaker. Lots of changes here. I'm not going to even go through these. I'm going to be posting a link to these patch notes. You guys can read through them yourselves. But there is a lot of changes in here which are definitely improving the dungeons playability, or players' playability in the dungeons. Not making it too easy, I don't think, but also not making it too hard. And a lot of really good changes, especially in the layer of Marsalek. Moongrave Fane looks like it got a lot of really good changes again to... And I'm not trying to sound rude here. The emphasis here is really good. A lot of these changes really reflect the ability for the player to play through the content and just fixing a lot of problems that that these things were having. They changed the names of a number of Scalebreaker achievements. Also, not too worried about it. Somerset had some minor fixes to a quest called Taming the Wild. And then the combat and gameplay changes. This is one everyone's waiting for. Ardent Flame, Lava Whip. They reverted the cost of this ability and its morphs from $22.95 to $2,700, which is their intended cost. Sorry for the confusion. Nightblade Shadow Summon Shade Shadow Image Morph. Your shadow image has gotten over its misguided protective nature and will now once again allow you to teleport to it when it is on a destructible piece of terrain, such as keep walls, blah blah blah. It will also it would also like to apologize for previous frustrations in your relationship and wants you to know it still loves you. Storm Calling Bolt Escape Streak. They fixed the issue with this ability where the stun was being blocked. If the damage was blocked, the damage and the stun are both now, as advertised, unblockable. Surge, Power Surge. This ability now triggers off of any critical strike instead of only critical damage and continues to grant major sorcery. The tooltip also mentions it works in progress functionality, which currently is disabled. Please see the Known Issues section for further details. And Critical Surge, increase the healing granted from this morph by 10%. I have to admit, I'm kind of excited for both of them. I want to see what they did. So I'll be on PTS later to check that out. Dual Wield, Hidden Blade. This ability and Shrouded Daggers morph no longer mark the target and now grant their major brutality, instantly. They decrease the duration of brutality to 20 seconds from 30 seconds. Now, Flying Blade, they improve the responsiveness of targeting for this ability's teleport attack when attempting to use it on an enemy within a group of targets. Tab targeting or mark target will now prioritize them even if another target enters your field of view. They increase the duration of major brutality from the teleport activation to 40 seconds from 30 seconds. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. Restoration staff changes. Steadfast Ward Healing Ward. Reduce the healing value from this ability to 33% of the shield's remaining strength down from 100%. The heal can now once again critically strike. Since the shield itself cannot crit, they say thank you all for helping gather data and providing feedback between our multiple iterations. Light Armor, Annulment Change Harness Magicka. Increase the bonus modifier per piece of light armor from for the magic return to 33% at rank 4 from 6%. Note the increase remains to be based on 5% of the ability's cost, so each piece of light armor will increase the return from 5% to 6.65%. Medium Armor, Evasion, Elude. They reduce the duration of major expedition granted from this ability by 2 seconds, so it will now last between 5 to 7 seconds rather than 7 to 9 seconds. Major expedition from this ability will now better respect its proc condition on when it's considered a direct area of effect attack. Note that many of the item sets that are thematically AoE dots may still trigger the effects due to the residual error data and will be cleaned up in the future update when we shift our focus to auditing item sets. So this is something that I thought was really interesting. They did this skill audit, now they're talking about doing an audit to the sets, and I really do hope that they do a set audit for a lot of different sets, because there is a lot of different sets out there that need to be looked at, not because they're useless, but because they mimic the effects of other things really well. So I think that giving sets, like different sets, multiple different options would be better than having a lot of sets mimic what other sets do. So we'll have to see. Soul Magic, Soul Trap, Soul Splitting Trap. This morph is now a Kiss Curse option, which adds a powerful new effect at the cost of another. This morph now hits any enemy within an 8-meter radius of the original target, rather up to 5 additional enemies in a 5-meter radius. But the damage per tick has been reduced by 33% to have this ability function more closely to an AoE dot. This will be a good change for this ability, but of course it does need testing to look at it. Fighters Guild Circle of Protection. They fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were getting the 15% stamina cost reduction built into their base cost, as well as having the passive Intimidating Presence, which covers the 15% cost reduction element. The base cost of this ability is now $45.90. That's high, but at the same time, it's a really good heal over time well, the heal from the Circle of Protection or Ring of Preservation is going to be really good, even with the cost increase. Item set changes. Everyone was expecting the Cruel Flurry, the Maelstrom Dual Wield, to be nerfed. It is getting a setback. They reduced the amount of weapon and spell damage granted from this item set to 1,000 from 2,300. The bonus weapon and spell damage will now apply to any target applied damage over time effect cast within 4 seconds of the bonus being applied, rather than being consumed on your next target applied damage over time effect. This will result in less total power from the item set, which being easier to engage with a new real-time combat with target swapping and movement. Drozakar's Claws, they reduce the weapon damage per bleed effect to 133 from 200, and Elemental Succession, they fixed an issue where the shock and fire bonuses would fail to apply when you dealt the proper damage. They increased the spell damage bonus to 550 from 500, and they reduced the cooldown to 4 seconds from 8 seconds. Hollow Fang's Thirst, they reduced the Magicka return from this set to 3,000 from 3,470. And Marselect, this item set now applies a damage over time effect for 4 seconds that begins dealing damage after 1 second of being applied in order to help reduce the burst damage potential of this set. Note that since this is now a negative effect, it will empower itself and can no longer be blocked. Martial Knowledge. This set will now trigger when you light attack an enemy while you are below 50% stamina, down from 75%. The enemy now takes 8% additional damage for 5 seconds with an 8-second cooldown, rather than 10% additional damage for 4 seconds with a 6-second cooldown. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's a good change on the Martial Knowledge, but I still think that it should be activation on direct, when you deal direct damage. I mean, if they would have left that trigger effect in there and not this stamina thing, because it is a Magicka based set, but I get why they're doing this, and it still works out really well when you're playing with a hybrid type character. It's a really good set for that type of playstyle because it boosts your damage, all of damage you deal, by 8%. Necropens, they fixed an issue where the bonus from the set was not applying its Magicka gain to necromantic pets. Now you can properly necro on your necro. That just sounded really wrong. Phoenix, they increased the damage shield granted by this set to 25,000 from 20,000, and they decreased the damage dealt to 8,000 from 1,250. And Trinamax Valor, this item set now has the proper telegraph to display where it is landing. That's really good. I actually like that. They're doing that change, because I actually was working on a build that used Trinamax Valor, and we'll have to see how it works out. Moving on, some minor changes. Writs are getting some changes. So it added a chance to acquire Terrene, Iridium, and Zircon grains as rewards for jewelry crafting writs. The odds of getting grains and the diversity of grains you can get increases with higher tier writs. Additionally, when there is a chance of jewelry crafting writs, may reward 2 grains of the same type, or very rarely an entire plating. Rank 5 jewelry crafting writs always award at least 1 grain. Exploration itemization. So they fixed some stuff with the Darkwood Endrick mount not appearing. It will now appear. They also fixed several things with the Witches Festival, housing, homes, quests, and zones. The Dragonhold Prologue quest. This is it. After you beat the 2 dungeons, this unlocks, from what I'm to understand. I haven't done it myself, but it's supposed to unlock when you complete both dungeons. And it allows you to do that. They've updated and fixed a few things there. And that's pretty much it for the PTS patch notes, guys. I mean, a lot of people were expecting greater changes across the board, but honestly, I think that a lot of these changes that they did are going to help improve the game and their functionality and how things play. So I'm just hoping that when they get to the item set audit, they really look at the item sets and how they affect builds, and really play on the idea of like, hey, we want to improve these sets to be this way or this way or this way, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see, because I mean, what I mean by this way or this way is like, okay, we want these light armor sets to be multifunctional, not just be geared towards magical only, but towards hybrid play and everything else. We want to do the same thing with stamina sets and heavy armor sets. So there's versatility in the way people can play the game. But again, that'll be time later down the road to see. So let's hope that the set audit is pretty good. But other than that, that's pretty much it again for these patch notes. If you guys liked this video, you guys know what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.